Most gardeners walk past their August garden and see the end of the season. I walk past mine and see the beginning of the best part. Welcome to Roots and Garden Secrets. What I am about to share with you is something most gardeners only figure out after years of missed harvests and empty fall tables. I have been growing food for over 30 years, and here is what took me too long to fully understand. August is not the end of your garden. It is actually one of the most powerful planting months of the entire year. The gardeners who know this are quietly setting up harvests right now that run through September, October, and deep into November, while everyone else has already put their tools away. Here is the biology behind it. Every seed you put in the ground this month matures in cooler air, shorter days, and falling temperatures. And that combination triggers something remarkable inside the plant. Cold does not hurt these vegetables. Cold converts their stored starches into sugar. That is not a gardening myth. That is plant biology, and it works in your favor every single time. Number 4 on today's list gets sweeter every time the temperature drops. Number 15 will be on your dinner table before September is over. 15 plants. One window of time. Let's go through all of them together. And if this is the kind of knowledge you come here for, please hit that like button and subscribe to Roots and Garden Secrets so you never miss a season again. Let's start with number 1, and this one might surprise you. Radishes. Most people think of radishes as a spring crop, and most people are growing the inferior version because of it. Here is what changes everything. Spring radishes are in a constant race against rising temperatures. You plant them, the soil warms up, and before the root has time to develop properly, the plant bolts, goes hollow, and turns sharp enough to clear a room. August radishes run the opposite race entirely. Seeds germinate fast in warm soil, usually 4 to 5 days for most varieties, and then as the plant matures through September, the falling temperatures work in its favor rather than against it. The result is a crisp, bright, genuinely flavorful radish that spring gardeners rarely experience. One professional tip that most people skip: soak your radish seeds overnight before sowing. It accelerates germination in August heat and gives you a stronger, faster start. Days to harvest run 22 to 28 days. Sow a small row every 10 days from now through mid-September, and you will have continuous fresh radishes all the way through October. Just pull them on schedule. A radish left past its window goes woody and bitter within days. Number 2 is spinach. And fall spinach is a completely different experience from the spring version most gardeners give up on. In spring, spinach races against lengthening days and warming soil until it bolts and turns bitter. In fall, the conditions run in reverse, and spinach thrives in exactly that direction. One important detail here: soil temperature above 85 degrees Fahrenheit will prevent spinach seeds from germinating at all. Wait until the second half of August to sow, giving the soil a chance to cool slightly. If your seedlings start showing yellowing leaves, that is a nitrogen deficiency, and a light scattering of used coffee grounds around the base of the plant will address it naturally. Choose Bloomsdale Longstanding, or any variety labeled Slow Bolt. Always harvest the outer leaves and leave the center growing. One plant will keep producing for weeks. Number 3 is lettuce, and this one has a built-in obstacle most gardeners never know about. Lettuce seed above 80 degrees Fahrenheit goes into what scientists call thermodormancy, meaning the seed actively refuses to germinate. This is why summer lettuce plantings fail before they even begin. The solution is straightforward. Sow in a spot with afternoon shade, water the bed thoroughly before planting, and lay a light cloth over the seeded area for the first 5 to 7 days to keep the surface cool. Always choose heat-tolerant or slow bolt varieties for late summer planting. Number 4 is the one I mentioned in the opening: kale. And nothing on this list has a more dramatic relationship with cold weather. When temperatures drop below freezing, kale triggers a survival response, converting its stored starches directly into sugars. The kale you harvest in November, after several hard frosts, is genuinely sweeter, more tender, and milder than anything the same plant produced in September. This is not a subtle difference. It is a different food. Plant now, let the roots establish through September, and by October, the first frosts begin doing the work that makes this vegetable worth growing. Lacinato and Red Russian are the 2 varieties I recommend most for fall harvest quality. In zones 7 and warmer, a single August planting will keep producing through December and into January. Number 5 is carrots, And this is where August planting reveals something most grocery store shoppers have never experienced. August planted carrots pulled in October and November, after cool nights have had weeks to work on them, are noticeably sweeter than anything grown in spring. The cold triggers the same starch-to-sugar conversion that works in kale and beets. The challenge is keeping the soil surface consistently moist during germination in August heat, because carrot seeds need that top layer to stay damp, and August sun can dry it within hours. Here is the technique most gardeners never learn. Lay a piece of burlap or a flat wooden board directly over the seeded row after sowing. It holds surface moisture through the heat of the day. Check underneath every morning. The moment you see tiny sprouts pushing up, remove the covering immediately. Choose Danvers or Nantes varieties for fall planting. They are shorter, stockier, and push through average garden soil without needing perfectly deep, loose conditions. Moving into the second half of our first group, number 6 is Swiss chard. And this one earns a special place on this list for a reason no other vegetable here can claim. Swiss chard is the only plant in your fall garden that thrives in August heat and keeps producing straight through November frost without missing a beat. Spinach bolts in summer, lettuce quits. Swiss chard just keeps growing through both. Planted in August, and you are looking at harvests from October all the way into December in zones 7 and warmer. Now here is something most first-time chard growers only discover after they bring it into the kitchen. The leaves and the stems are two completely separate ingredients that cook at different speeds. The leaves wilt in a hot pan in about 2 minutes, just like spinach. The thick stems need 4 to 5 minutes longer. Always separate them when you harvest, start the stems first, and add the leaves at the end. For variety, look for bright lights or rainbow chard. The stems come in deep red, orange, yellow, and white, and it is honestly one of the most visually beautiful vegetables you will ever grow in a fall garden. Number 7 is arugula, and this is the fastest salad green on the entire list. Most varieties are ready to harvest in 21 to 25 days, which means if you sow this week, you are eating fresh greens before September is fully underway. The flavor difference between summer arugula and fall arugula is real and noticeable. Summer heat pushes the peppery bite into something aggressive. Cooler fall temperatures bring it back into balance, producing a clean, nutty, lightly spicy green that works beautifully in salads, on pizza, or alongside anything grilled. The most common arugula mistake is letting the leaves get too large. At 2 to 3 inches, the flavor is mild and sweet. At 5 to 6 inches, it is sharp enough to overpower anything it touches. Use scissors, cut about 1 inch above the soil, and new growth returns in 10 to 12 days. Sow one small patch now and another in 2 weeks. 2 plantings give you continuous fresh arugula from late August through October. Number 8 is beets, and this is where one planting gives you 2 completely different harvests. The leafy tops become edible from about 30 days in, weeks before the roots are anywhere near ready. Beet greens sautéed with garlic and olive oil are one of the simplest and most satisfying meals a fall garden produces, tasting somewhere between spinach and something earthier and more substantial. The roots follow at 55 to 70 days, and just like kale and carrots, cool October temperatures trigger the starch-to-sugar conversion that makes fall beets genuinely sweeter than their spring counterparts. Pull beets when the shoulder of the root visible above the soil surface is 2 to 3 inches across. Past that point, the texture turns woody and the sweetness drops off quickly. For variety, try Chioggia, the Italian heirloom with concentric pink and white rings inside. Cut one open in October, and you will understand why people grow it just for the visual. Number 9 is broccoli, and I want to address something directly. If you tried broccoli in spring, watched it bolt before forming a proper head, and concluded that broccoli is just difficult to grow, I understand that completely. I thought the same thing for 2 seasons. The truth is that broccoli is not difficult. It simply needs to mature in cool weather, and spring planting in most American climates makes that nearly impossible. Start seeds indoors right now. In 3 to 4 weeks you will have transplant-ready seedlings to move into the garden in late August or early September. Those plants will form their heads in October air, and the difference in flavor and texture compared to spring broccoli is striking. After you cut the main head, leave the plant in the ground. Side shoots will continue developing from the base and leaf joints for weeks afterward, smaller than the main head but just as good. Look for Bell Star or Calabrese, both in the 60 to 70 day range. fast enough to beat first frost across most of the continental United States. Number 10 is mustard greens, and timing is everything with this one. Mustard greens mature in 30 to 40 days, making them one of the faster crops on this list. But here is the detail that determines whether you enjoy them or find them too intense to eat. Sow in the first half of August, and the leaves mature in full summer heat, producing a sharpness that overwhelms most palates. Sow in the second half of August, and the plants establish in the last of the summer warmth, then mature as September temperatures cool, producing a balance of spice and subtle sweetness that summer-harvested mustard greens simply never achieve. Always harvest young, leave the center of the plant growing, and one sowing will keep giving you cuttings well into October. We are into the final stretch of our 15 plants now, and these last 5 are where a lot of American home gardeners have the most untapped potential. Let's start with number 11, bok choy. Bok choy is one of the most overlooked vegetables in the American home garden, and I think that is a genuine shame, because growing your own is one of those experiences that changes how you think about a vegetable entirely. The bok choy you buy at the grocery store is almost never truly fresh. By the time it reaches the produce aisle, the crunch and natural sweetness have already begun to fade. Fresh bok choy harvested straight from your garden is a noticeably different food. Baby bok choy varieties are ready in just 30 days. Full-size varieties take 45 to 60 days. Either way, an August planting gets you a real harvest well ahead of first frost. 2 things matter most when planting in August: afternoon shade and consistent moisture. Bok choy seed does not germinate reliably above 80 degrees Fahrenheit, so find a spot that gets some protection from the hottest part of the day and keep the soil evenly moist until your seedlings are established. Once they are up and growing, the cooling temperatures of fall take over, and this plant moves fast. Number 12 is kohlrabi, and I want to take a moment for this one because it is the vegetable that confuses people most at the grocery store and rewards them most in the garden. It looks like nothing else in the produce section, a round, swollen stem with leaves shooting outward in every direction. And most people assume it must be complicated to prepare. It is not. Peel it, slice it, and eat it raw. The flavor sits somewhere between a broccoli stem and a fresh apple, mild, lightly sweet, and surprisingly crisp. No cooking required for the best experience, though it also roasts beautifully if you want to go that direction. Kohlrabi matures in 45 to 60 days and prefers to size up during the cooler weeks of September, making it a natural fit for August planting. Harvest when the bulb reaches 2 to 3 inches across. Let it go larger than that and the texture turns woody and the flavor sharpens in the wrong direction. White Vienna and purple Vienna are the 2 varieties you will find most easily at garden centers and in seed aisles. They taste identical. The purple one just looks better on the table. Number 13 is turnips, and this might be the most misunderstood vegetable in American cooking. Most people who tell me they do not like turnips have only ever eaten large, old storage turnips, the kind that are starchy, fibrous, and aggressively sharp. That version of the vegetable and a fresh August-planted turnip pulled in October at golf ball size are not even the same food. A fresh turnip at 2 inches across is mild, slightly sweet, and crisp enough to eat raw like a radish. And before the root is even close to ready, the greens give you a first harvest at around 30 days. Turnip greens cook like mustard greens, peppery and substantial, and they are genuinely nutritious. 1 planting, 2 crops. For variety, seek out hakare, the Japanese salad turnip. It is small, smooth, white, and mild enough to eat straight from the ground. It has changed more minds about turnips than anything else I have ever recommended. Number 14 is collard greens. And if you live in Zone 7 or warmer, this is one of the most rewarding plants you can put in the ground this month. Collards are tougher than kale, hardier than chard, and more cold-tolerant than almost anything else in the fall garden. First frost does not end them, it improves them, triggering the same starch-to-sugar conversion we talked about with kale. But in collards, the transformation is especially pronounced. A plant that was bold and slightly bitter in September becomes rich, deeply savory, and genuinely sweet after the first hard November frost. Southern gardeners have known this for generations. Space your plants 18 inches apart because they get large. Harvest the lower outer leaves first and leave the center intact. The plant keeps producing upward for months after the first cutting. And number 15, the last plant on this list, is scallions. Not the most dramatic entry, but I would argue it is the most practical vegetable you can grow in a fall garden. Fresh green onions on eggs, in salads, on soup, on anything coming off the grill. Having them just steps from your kitchen door, on demand from late September through November, is one of those quiet pleasures that makes home gardening feel genuinely worth it every single day. Seeds go in now, sprouts appear in 7 to 10 days, and they are ready to harvest in about 60 days. Here is the technique that multiplies your yield. Do not pull the whole plant. Use scissors. Cut the green tops about 1 inch above the soil and leave the bulb in the ground. New tops grow back in 10 to 14 days. One August planting gives you 2 to 3 cuttings before the season closes. And scallions ask almost nothing from you in return. A 6-inch strip along the edge of any bed, regular water, no special care. The simplest plant on this list, and one of the most useful things in your kitchen from now through fall. Now that you have your 15 plants, I want to give you something most gardening videos skip entirely, and this is the part that separates a decent fall harvest from a truly exceptional one. Knowing what to plant is only half the equation. Knowing how to care for it is what actually puts food on your table. Start with your soil. Before you sow a single seed, work a 3 to 4 inch layer of compost into your beds and mix it down deep. If your spring garden was well fertilized, your fall garden only needs about half that fertilizer rate. About a week before planting, apply an organic pre-plant fertilizer into the top few inches of soil. That foundation feeds your plants through the entire season. Watering is where I see good gardeners make their most costly fall mistake. They water fall vegetables the same way they watered tomatoes in July, and it backfires. As days shorten and nights cool, plants lose far less moisture through evaporation. Water deeply and less often. Always water in the morning, so foliage dries before evening. Check soil moisture 3 to 4 inches below the surface before you reach for the hose. If it is still damp down there, your plants are fine. Drip irrigation, or a soaker hose, cuts your water usage by up to 50% compared to overhead sprinklers, and dramatically reduces fungal disease pressure at the same time. Fertilize by plant group, not by guesswork. Leafy greens like kale, spinach, chard, collards, and arugula need consistent nitrogen every 2 to 3 weeks. Root crops like carrots, beets, and radishes need less nitrogen and more phosphorus and potassium. Too much nitrogen on root crops gives you beautiful tops and disappointing roots. Brassicas, including broccoli, bok choy, and kohlrabi, are the heaviest feeders. Side dress them about 3 weeks after transplanting by scattering fertilizer along both sides of the row and watering it in immediately. You will see results within 2 weeks. For pest control, cover your brassicas with row cover fabric right after planting to block cabbage worm butterflies before they lay eggs. If worms are already present, use Bacillus thuringiensis, sold as BT or BTK. It kills caterpillars and harms nothing else in your garden. For aphids, check leaf undersides weekly and knock them off with a strong stream of water, or apply insecticidal soap or neem oil. Plant marigolds and nasturtiums nearby to deter pests naturally and draw in beneficial insects. To extend your harvest past first frost, lightweight row cover at 0.5 ounces per square yard adds 2 to 4 weeks of protection. Medium weight, at 1.25 ounces, holds down to 28 degrees Fahrenheit and buys you 4 to 6 more weeks. A simple cold frame built from scrap lumber and a clear plastic panel costs almost nothing and can keep greens producing into December. Lay 2 inches of mulch around plant bases to hold soil warmth overnight, and water your beds thoroughly on any evening frost is in the forecast. Moist soil holds heat far better than dry soil. Finally, when summer crops finish, clear all plant debris immediately. Old plant material is where disease and overwintering pests hide. Clean it out and rotate your crop families each season, never planting the same family in the same spot 2 years in a row. So here is where we land. 15 vegetables, all going in the ground this month, all delivering a real harvest in September, October, and November, when most gardens are finished and yours is just hitting its stride. August is not the end of the gardening season. It is the beginning of the best part of it. Which one are you planting first? Drop it in the comments and tell me your growing zone. Someone gardening in your exact climate is reading those answers right now. Subscribe to Roots and Garden Secrets and hit the bell so you never miss what is coming next. More of this every week. right here.